What's going on, guys? See, Blake here. Like most of you, I am currently quarantined inside my house. It does not mean that we're not still getting things done. And it also is kind of giving me some motivation to make some YouTube videos because I have the time. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how the sneaker culture as a whole is being affected from this. We're going to go over some of my thoughts and opinions on the issue based on everything that I've been reading. I'm always curious about your comments as well. The channel's still small enough for me to reply to everyone, so definitely have that conversation down below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. So COVID-19, one of the most first and obvious things that started to impact was shipping times for a lot of products. So we already know that most of the major retailers do a lot of their manufacturing overseas. So whenever there's a supply chain issue, it obviously affects those retailers that are making their goods overseas first. Nike, Adidas, etc. While China and a lot of other of the Asian countries are going back to work, where most of these companies are manufacturing, there's still some pretty crazy supply chain issues here. And one of the biggest shifts I've already seen is obviously the closing of most retail stores. What does that mean for sneakerheads? All of the product that was allocated for these stores has now been pulled and put back online. Now, maybe I'm just speaking anecdotally, but it has been easier for me to buy some sneakers that usually I wouldn't be able to get. Was able to purchase the Yeezys, no problem the other day. I also grabbed the Air Max Day, Air Max 90s, no problem from a boutique. And it looks like from the stock numbers that were pulled, all of these retailers are putting their product up online. Now, that's not such a bad thing short term, but another issue that we might run into is a lot of these boutiques and stores, if they're not getting some sort of relief from their accounts, meaning if Nike shipped them product and they have to sell it to pay their invoices and they're no longer getting that brick and mortar traffic that they relied on. For that reason, a lot of boutiques and smaller stores might be in danger of closing. Now, you can obviously support your local stores online. They all have their Shopify accounts, but it is going to be interesting to see with some of the small business relief that's come through in the recent stimulus package that was passed, whether or not these accounts are going to be able to take advantage of it. Because one of the primary things that is required for a small business to take a loan is to retain their employees. And obviously with brick and mortar being completely stagnant, it's going to be hard for a shop to justify payroll expenses when there's just no business being done. Now, the other thing when it comes to sneaker selling is obviously people are not spending as much. If we had discretionary spending before on an overpriced pair of Yeezys or something else, we're not seeing at all people dipping into their pockets to buy something. Now, from the under retail side of things, and from this I can speak with expertise because I run kicksundercost.com. Well, technically I'm an employee of kicksundercost.com, but that's just for legal reasons. That site has actually gone up in terms of volume. So we've still seen people wanting to kind of splurge. Some people are still getting their paycheck. Maybe they're thinking about their stimulus check, but they're a lot more mindful of paying under retail. And some of these releases that we thought were going to be huge or sellouts or sell-throughs, I think we're going to see under retail as well. So I think coming out of this, the part of the sneaker culture that wasn't already being patient with price drops, which has been a trend for a while, is just going to grow that much more. On the other hand of things, it's going to be especially interesting to see what happens to StockX and GOAT. Now, both of those companies have major positions in major cities that are really affected by the virus. So for them to shutter their doors, that's going to really stop a lot of the resale process. Now, obviously, hand-to-hand selling is still going on through eBay. I shouldn't say hand-to-hand literally, but smaller sales are still going on. But if either of those two operations to cease, I think we'd see an even greater dip in demand for those limited products because there's not really the best way to sell them in mass, which is what these two sites, StockX and GOAT, have really been as tools. Sneakerhead streetwear related, we've also seen Supreme offering free shipping over $150, to combat some store closings there. And I really do think we're just gonna see this shift with retailers continuing to mark down. Now, here's the silver lining in all this. Now, I'm not being that optimistic saying this stuff's gonna go away in Easter. I personally feel we're going to be feeling the effects of this for the better half of the entire year here. That being said, we've had such a tremendous run up that a lot of people that maybe were saving, how many people I've heard that say they were saving for the next recession to buy a house. Now, we haven't seen a housing crash at all, but the sentiment of people saving Now, if there was that item you were looking for, you were thinking about buying a new car, there's been tons of incentives for people to spend money. So if you are in a position where you were saving, now seems like a good time to purchase some of the things that might have been overpriced or run up with the rest of the stock market. So if you have been saving, splurge, treat yourself in the meantime, but still be wary of how this is going to affect the entire world outside just sneakers and streetwear. So that's, of course, my opinion. Let me know down in the comments what you guys are thinking and feeling about it. I'm very curious to hear. T Blake signing out. Peace, guys.